Blacknell. From personal injury to criminal defense, Jovan Blacknell has the knowledge to protect your rights. The law office of Jovan Blacknell understands the stress and anxiety that come with legal issues. That's why the law office of Jovan Blacknell supports the right to a fair trial. For Los Angeles Council member Mark Ridley Thomas, are you facing a legal battle? Log on to fightforjustice.com. Don't go through it alone. Let the law office of Jovan Blacknell fight for your rights. Log on to fightforjustice.com. Let the law office of Jovan Blacknell take the worry and stress out of your case. Call 310-469-9117 today for a free consultation. That's 310-469-9117 or log on to fightforjustice.com. Law office of Jovan Blacknell, where experience and dedication make the difference. Let's get back to business, Los Angeles County. The Economic Opportunity Grant Program is now open. This program is designed to provide financial support to qualified small businesses, micro-entrepreneurs, food industry businesses such as restaurants, and nonprofits in Los Angeles County. Approximately 4,600 grants of up to $2,500 will be administered to qualified micro businesses that face barriers to accessing capital resources. To learn more about the Economic Opportunity Grant Program, visit www.grants.lacounty.gov. The application process is fast and easy. Don't miss the opportunity to get back to business. This program is administered by the County of Los Angeles through its Department of Economic Opportunity and funded in part through a grant from the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. Application portal is powered by Lendistry. Visit www.grants.lacounty.gov and get back to business.
When you get nachos, tacos, empanadas, spicy queso with jalapenos, Pepto-Bismol's there. Pepto-Bismol provides fast, effective relief from nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and diarrhea. All the things that can happen unexpectedly on vacation. So before you travel, pack the Pepto. Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns. And here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
There's no time like the present. Let's get back to more of Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back to the Friday edition of Areva Martin in real time. I'm Avi Bernard, and I am joined by IRL Rosie, a.k.a. Rosie Akamora. She is a voice actor and singer and songwriter. Welcome, Rosie.
Hi, how's everyone doing?
Doing great, doing great. Thanks for joining us. And also joined by Jim Browning, who is a YouTuber and scam baiter. Welcome, Jim.
Hi, thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited to have both of you on, especially at the same time. I've been doing some research on this subject because I have just been getting inundated with scam attempts, and I am less than thrilled to say I almost fell for one of them. And I just I want to talk to you both about this subject. And Rosie, I believe you got involved into, you make these videos on YouTube, and you prank call the scammers. And I want to I want to first ask how you got into doing this. It's so funny, and I know that a lot of our listeners are going to be hearing about you for the first time. But I want to ask how you got into this, how you got into doing this to these scammers.
Well, the short version is that my mom fell victim to a pop-up scam on her computer with scammers pretending to be Microsoft, and they offered her a $500 lifetime subscription to keep viruses off her computer. But it turned out it was not Microsoft at all, and there was no subscription. And in the meantime, they gained access to her entire computer and got all of her bank logins and passwords. And she told me about it. She was like, oh, I got this thing. They got this virus off my computer. And I was like, give me that phone number. That's not real. And I called them back and wasted their time for over an hour using a bunch of different voices and did a live stream on Facebook and let my friends watch. And the next few hours and days and weeks, I got so many requests from friends and family, like, can you call this number? Can you call this number? So it sort of happened by accident, but because of my mom, just, vengeance.
Yeah, so you were making these calls to avenge what your mom had been through, and I know that we all have either been scammed ourselves and or know someone who has been scammed. And Jim, I'm just really amazed. I've been watching your stuff, and you have cameras of the scammers, and you know like their real names. How do you get this information?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm an engineer at heart. That's how I get started. I got the same phone calls that everybody else got. I mean, I get lots and lots of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on a mugs list. And really, I just thought, hey, I'm an engineer. Maybe I can do something about them. So that's how I get started. But like, you're right. Whenever I delve into scams, I go that little bit further. And if a scammer tries to get onto my computer, and a lot of them do that,
Mm-hmm.
then I reverse it and I get onto their computers. And if I can do that, then possibly I might be able to see their cameras as well. So that's what I do.
Wow. So how do you know when a scammer tries to get into your computer?
Well, they will ask you, they will get you to run certain things on your computer. And if you're not really that computer literate, and a lot of older people tend to be in that category,
Mm-hmm.
then you could be typing something and it will give the scammer access to your computer. But I play them at their own game and I know what they're up to. And if I can manipulate them, then I can run the scam in reverse. So whenever they connect to my computer, I can see what they've done and I can reverse that again.
And so is that just because you're an engineer that you know how to do this, or is this something that maybe not someone who is completely uncomputer literate can do, but maybe someone who is, somewhat tech savvy can do that as well? Or is it just because you're just a really good engineer?
Well, I don't think it's because of my engineer. Engineering helps a little bit, but honestly, anybody can do this. If you've got a bit of confidence, and there's a lot of guides to doing this online. So if you look at scammer.info, if you're really interested in baiting scammers in a kind of a technical way, you don't need to be technical at all, by the way, to do this. I mean, Rosie, I guess you're probably a prime example of that. But if you can waste their time, that is time well spent, if you can afford to do that.
And so I'm so glad you brought up wasting your time, because Rosie, I don't know if there's anyone better at wasting scammers' time than you. I've been watching your videos, and so is that your main goal when you are calling these numbers? So you'll call them, and is your main goal to waste their time?
Yes, I take more of, since I'm not too tech savvy, I leave that up to Jim and Kitboga and Scammer Payback and Trilogy Media. There's a whole community of us that do it all in our different way. And for me, safety-wise, I like to do a more educational, preventative approach, I guess, to these things. So I do that by wasting their time for as long as possible and making a funny video and just kind of explaining on, what to avoid rather than the hacker side. I don't even know the first thing with all that. So I just want to waste their time.
So you said that there's a community of you all. Do you all have like conferences, or do you guys are you guys on a group chat or group text, or do y'all communicate with each other?
Yeah, we're all friends. I mean, there's a couple
group
chats, and then Jim, do you want to tell them about the Scammer Payback call center that I missed out on? I couldn't, my availability couldn't attend, but there was, an anti-scam call center. Jim, if you want to explain.
Please do, yes.
Yeah. We had Scammer Payback, or Pierogi, is another person who just does exactly the scam baiting. And last year he set up what he called the People's Call Center. And that was an anti-scam call center. So literally what we were doing was sitting at computers, and we virtually joined a scam call center. But instead of victims getting money stolen, we were telling people, hey, if you get a scam call like you've just got, hang up and don't give any details. And if you get, the robocall messages that typically people get every single day, we were able to answer some of those instead of the scammer speaking to the victim. So it was great fun to be able to do that. And again, it's just something that helps just raise awareness of scams.
I love that. I love that so much. And so, Jim, you said that one of the best things you can do is to waste the scammer's time. Why is that? Why is that a valuable thing for us to do, is to waste the scammer's time?
Well, put very simply, when they're talking to you and engaging with you and you're sending them wild goose chases or you're basically making fun of them, they're not scamming your neighbors, your parents, your relatives. And obviously it costs them a lot more money than it would do otherwise. So I always encourage people to take on scammers and kind of lead them down different paths, take them off their script, have a bit of fun with them. Why not? Because honestly, it just helps other people if you can do that.
We're talking to Rosie Okamura, aka IRL Rosie, and Jim Browning about scammers and the work they do to combat scammers. And so, Rosie, is there do you have like a quota of like of videos you want to make, or of calls that you want to make to these scammers, or of the amount of time you want to spend? Like, is it like it's kind of like community service, I feel like, at this point. You've been doing it for so long, and if you have so much good content, I mean, at this point, you're just continuing to pile it on. Do you have a certain amount that you try to do per day or per week?
It's sort of a bittersweet answer of, I wish I didn't have to, I wish there weren't scams and scammers, but, we all are kind of doing a service, and I don't think we'll ever really be done because, unfortunately, there's always bad people and crummy, scummy people out there trying to take advantage of people who don't know better. And it's our pleasure to waste their time and, again, spread awareness and educate people on what to look out for. So I guess I'll stop when scammers stop, but I don't think they will. And my YouTube channel also allows for me to, practice my skills with voiceover and music. So it's just a great way to keep my muscles strong in that sense. And then also, making comedy videos and helping people.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about, because you are a voice actor and you do use different voices in these videos and your calls to these scammers. And can you tell us about that? How do you have like different personalities that you use? Are you making up these voices on the spot, or do you have like certain go-tos that you use continuously?
I definitely have a few that I, go to. In the beginning of the call, I know I'm going to call as an old lady or pretend to be Siri, or sometimes I'm both in one call. And then it's all sort of improv, wherever the call leads me, I'll sort of switch things up. And if I'm doing a live stream, I'll oftentimes take requests from the chat and fans and subscribers saying, "Now do this. It would be funny if you did this." So it's sort of just, a wild improv with a partner who doesn't know they're my improv partner, and using my silly voices. It's a lot of fun, and it's different every time, which is always interesting.
It's so funny. I was watching one of your videos, and you were kind of losing it a little bit. You were starting to you got the giggles, and you were saying that you don't really break that often. But what kind of response do you typically get from these scammers? Do they ever? What's okay? Let me ask you like this: What's the longest you've ever been able to hold a scammer up for, or waste a scammer's time? What's the longest amount you've ever been able to do that?
I've been on the phone with a scammer for over an hour before. I believe it was an hour and 20 minutes, where
Wow.
I just took the conversation any direction possible. I called pretending to be an old person, and then got on the phone as that old person's daughter who was ditzy, and then started pretending to flirt with the scammer and all sorts of stuff. And then I got him to confess everything. So it just was a wild ride. But short answer, probably an hour and a half.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, do you you said that one of them was trying to flirt with you. I was gonna say. I mean, I feel like when a lot of men hear a woman's voice on the other end, they're just male, disgusting, man sense kicks in. So I need to flirt with this woman. Does that happen a lot?
Sometimes they get a little creepy, and I think it's more of a power control thing where they think they'll shock me enough to where I'll stop messing with them. But, I've heard everything, unfortunately. But on the fortunate side, I'm prepared for anything, so I can always make it work. And if it gets a little too dicey, I just hang up. There's plenty of other people to call that aren't going to get too gross.
Right.
But it does get a little creepy sometimes.
It seems like it, yeah. And do they often know that you're messing with them?
It's half and half. I think sometimes they're also bored at work. So I can tell that they're bored. It's funny. And, now that the community of us is growing as scam baiters, they oftentimes will know who we are sometimes. It doesn't happen for me as much, but Jim, do you get recognized on your calls?
I do, sadly, and so much so that unlike Rosie, I can't change my voice very easily. I find that really difficult. So I've invested in a voice changer, and believe it or not, I've had to use that on a number of calls because honestly, they do recognize me. I wish I had Rosie's talents when it came to that.
Okay, so I want to ask you all about a specific scam, and maybe you have familiarity with this, and maybe you don't. But I've been getting these text messages, and I mentioned that I almost fell for one of these scams once, and so it was this one. And so they text you, and they pretend to be somebody that you know, or somebody who you don't know really well, probably somebody you work with. And so I had just gotten a job at this TV station, and so this was years ago now, and I just got a job at a TV station, and like the head of the TV station texted me. I was like, "Oh, okay, this is cool. Maybe And they got my number from one of my coworkers, and they said, "Yeah, I need you on a task real quick. Go get these gift cards. I'm at a conference, and I can't talk, but just go get these gift cards." And so I went to I think I was already in the car. I was like, "Okay, no problem. I'll just stop here real quick." And so I got to Staples, and I bought these gift cards. And as I was getting ready they asked for the back to scratch off the back and send the code, and I was like, wait a second. My stupidity finally just took a break, and I finally was able to realize maybe this isn't exactly what it seems. And so then I looked into it further, and I found out it wasn't, because I didn't have obviously the head of the TV station's number at that time. And so I did some research, and I texted someone. I said, "Hey, is this so-and-so's number?" And they said, "No." And so I was like, "Oh, wow." I almost fell for it. Almost sent like $500 worth of gift cards to some scammer. And
oh my goodness.
I know, right? I felt so stupid. And so thankfully I didn't. But I've since been getting a lot of these text messages lately, and I've been just instinctively, and this is what led me to want to talk to you both. I've been kind of just going on these long text exchanges with these scammers now, and like just back and forth, like, "Oh, did you want this kind of card? And did you want oh, okay, well, I'm almost there. Just hold on 1 second. Oh, wait a second. Oh, I had to go run out to the gas station. Let me go back." And then I actually posted one on my Instagram recently, in which someone sent me a picture of like a pretty woman and was like, "Oh, hey, this is me. What do you look like?" And so I sent back a picture of Pedro Pascal, who is a very popular actor. And
I love him.
yeah, he's great. He's in a show called The Last of Us. He's in Game of Thrones. He's in a bunch of stuff. But this scammer wasn't familiar with Pedro Pascal, so they kept talking to me. And so this conversation, I sent them a picture of him, and I said, "Oh yeah." They asked me how old I am. "Oh yeah, I just made up an age. I'm 47. I'm in Calabasas." And they're like, "Oh yeah, me too." And so I sent them a fake address, and this went on for like a long time. And so I just instinctively kind of felt, let me just run them on a wild goose chase since I have the time today. But I wanted to ask you both: is that a scam that you're familiar with? Let's start with you, Rosie.
Oh,
I mean, I've heard it all. I've heard that specific scam because it also happened to a friend of mine, and it happened when she first got the job. And I think what these scammers are doing are they're scouring the websites where maybe you applied or sent a public resume, or maybe you added something to LinkedIn, and they'll go down and find out who's the boss and then find your information and pretend to be them. So if you were just hired, that's usually how that works. And then I've heard about the pretty girl picture thing, pretending that it's a wrong number as well. So I've definitely heard of it. I've heard of it all, but they're always learning new things and sort of one step ahead of everyone else. So we always have to keep ourselves learning about new scams, and technology changes that too. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, Jim, what about you? I'm sure you're familiar with this scam as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have heard of both of them, and you're absolutely right. And some scams are easier to perform than others, but there are a huge number of them. And in fact, if you looked at a website, a lot of scam baiters use this website. There's something called scammer.info. And if you look at just the tags associated with scams, I've counted over 100 different types of scams there. So not everybody is familiar with them, and people often wonder, well, how could anybody fall for that? And it's very simply, if you haven't encountered it, and if it looks convincing, anyone can be caught out. You, me, everyone.
And so we're speaking to Jim Browning and Rosie Akamura, a.k.a. IRL Rosie, about scams. And when we come forward, I want to talk to you both about, Jim, you mentioned that there are over 100 types of scams. I want to talk about the latest scams that are out there, and what our listeners and viewers, because we are also streaming live on YouTube. And if you have a question for either of them, give us a call, 800-920-1580. That's 800-920-1580. And I want to ask you both when we come forward about what are the latest scams to be worried about. What are some signs that you might be encountering a scam? And how best to protect yourself, as you mentioned, Rosie, because they are continuing to get more and more savvy, and these scammers are getting better and better at what they do. They're evolving as we're evolving. So we're gonna tackle that question when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Areva time is the right time. More of Areva Martin in real time when we come forward.
I'm Julius White. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office is firing back at congressional Republicans regarding the indictment of former President Donald Trump. The House Judiciary Committee has been demanding the African-American Bragg testify about the investigation that led to a grand jury indicting Trump. The Daily News got a hold of the letter sent from Bragg's office to the Republican-led committee, which says in part, it appears the committee is acting more like a criminal defense counsel than a legislative body seeking a legislative objective. Meantime, the Texas House is delaying the final vote on a bill that would outlaw the death penalty for those with severe mental illness. And Tuskegee University says a student has tested positive for tuberculosis. The HBCU was notified of the case on Wednesday by the Alabama Department of Public Health. Right now, officials are working to notify anyone who may have been in close contact with the patient. I'm Julius White on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
As we check your ride on the 405 northbound side through Orange County, slow going from the 133 to Seal Beach Boulevard. Up ahead, leaving Long Beach, you're slow again on the 405 northbound between Bellflower Boulevard and Alameda and Carson. And then you're slow again on the 405 northbound from Sepulveda Boulevard near Culver City all the way up to Nordhoff. And then you're slow yet again from the 118 to the 5. 405 southbound, that's jammed up from Getty Center Drive to Century Boulevard.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Shopping for new blinds? At Blindster, we offer over 50 different blinds, shades, and shutters at low prices, custom made for your windows, and shipping is free. Shop at home and order 10 free samples of any product before you buy. Blindster.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Brandon Miller, the controversial basketball player at the University of Alabama, announced today he is entering the NBA draft. The 6'9 freshman All-American is projected to be among the top 3 picks on June 22nd. NBA teams will be asking Miller more questions about his involvement in the fatal shooting of a young woman in Tuscaloosa, Alabama on January 15th. Miller is not a suspect in the case, but he allegedly brought the gun to the scene that was used in the shooting. For the first time in Final Four history, there will be no number 1, 2, or 3 seeds competing for the championship. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. This sports report was brought to you by Original Taco Pete.
It's Aaron from Original Taco Pete. Let us cater your March Madness munchies. Order with us at Original Taco Pete on Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, or stop into our Slauson and Crenshaw location. We'll feed you soon.
Access granted.
In in a survey conducted by the public opinion research firm Eviderus. KBLA Talk 1580 consistently emerged as the station of choice for black audiences in the Los Angeles media market and beyond. The survey also revealed that the vast majority of black audiences are concerned about the lack of black-owned media and are more likely to listen to talk radio that focuses on issues that impact the black community. For some reason, the other talk stations haven't quite figured that out.
If you think about KFI, well, KFI only has like a 3% black listenership. 3%. So there's a good 97% out there to support a station like KBLA.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Your black. Your black.
California is a great place to live and work, but those aren't easy things to do for students also going to college. That's why the state created the Californians for All College Corps, a way for students to build skills and help others while earning up to $10,000 for school. Commit to serve your community and we'll help you pay for college. Spots will fill up fast, so learn more and apply today at www.cacollegecorps.com. That's www.cacollegecorps.com. California is a great place to live and work, but those aren't easy things to do for students also going to college. That's why the state created the Californians for All College Corps, a way for students to build skills and help others while earning up to $10,000 for school. Commit to serve your community and we'll help you pay for college. Spots will fill up fast, so learn more and apply today at www.cacollegecorps.com. That's www.cacollegecorps.com.
Our Weekly Los Angeles is the largest audited black newspaper in the state of California with a distribution of over 50,000 copies weekly. Pick up a copy every Thursday to get the latest news on African American communities of LA. You can also keep up with what's going on in Los Angeles and surrounding cities by going to www.ourweekly.com. The Our Weekly website is updated daily with the current news about us and for us. For your advertising needs, Our Weekly offers economical advertising packages to fit your budget. Feel free to call Our Weekly Los Angeles at 323-905-1300 or visit the website at www.ourweekly.com. Our Weekly Los Angeles, reporting news that matters to you.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. Today I spoke with Tatiana, a community manager for JP Morgan Chase.
Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Tatiana Roberts. I am a community manager for JP Morgan Chase. I have to honestly say that this has been the most fulfilling position that I've ever had, where I get to give back to the community because I saw my mom's struggles. That's really what fuels what I do to make sure that that the community has all the access to the resources that my mother didn't have.
So for the mother who's in business, what are 3 quick tips you can give to ensure that they're on the right path to accessing financial support from a bank like Chase?
Say number 1, just make sure that you're checking your credit on a consistent basis and taking action to either fix your credit, maintain your credit, or rebuild your credit. The second thing would be budget. I know that B word is kind of like ugly for, right? A lot of people don't like that B word, but it has to be done. We need to tell our money where to go. The last thing is to build a network of supporters that are going to lift you up.
The community building here in Crenshaw is that network. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Maisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back to the Friday edition of Areva Martin in real time. I'm Avi Bernard with you every Friday from 4 to 6, and I'm joined by Jim Browning, YouTuber and scam baiter, and Rosie Akamora, a.k.a. IRL Rosie, who is a voice actor, singer, and songwriter. And I'm so glad you're both able to join me. And as I was saying before we stepped aside, I want to ask you about what are the latest scams, Jim? I mean, what's the latest? We've all been talking about how the scammers are getting better and better. And so, what's the latest trend you've been seeing, Jim?
Well, believe it or not, I have a US phone number. I'm not actually based in the USA, over in Ireland, but I have a US phone number. And recently, and I'm sure everybody is finding this, I get lots and lots of Medicare scams. And what the scammers are after there is your personal details, and they will sign you up for something that you do not need, and they will use those details to run further scams. So if anyone calls you out of the blue and says that they're going to review Medicare benefits or something to that effect, pretty much that's going to be a scam, and the best thing to do is just hang up. Unless, of course, you want to do what Rosie and I do and keep them on the phone for as long as possible. So that's definitely one of them. But the other one I would ask people to look out for is the Hello Mum or Hello Dad scam. And that's the one where you get a message through WhatsApp, and it's usually WhatsApp, and it will say, "Hi Mum, I've lost my phone, or I've dropped my phone, so I've had to borrow or buy a new one." And basically, if you answer that, and some people I've seen actually answer those, eventually this person who's obviously pretending to be a son or daughter will then ask eventually for money. So it's just one to look out for. If you get a strange message from an unusual number claiming to be your son or daughter, then again, likely to be a scam. And if you phone that number, I've watched the scammers play static noises to make it look as if you can't speak to the person. You have to text them only. So very sneaky.
Okay. So you call the number, and then they answer and just act like there's no reception. So you end up texting them again, and then they say, "Oh yeah, sorry, I tried to answer, but there's no reception." Because of course they don't want to talk to you because it's not the person who they're claiming to be. So they want to avoid any voice contact at all costs. Got you. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, I have not heard about that one. See, this is why I have y'all here, because I want to inform everyone about this stuff. And Rosie, what about you? Are you seeing any new innovative scams lately?
For me, the most recent popular ones are the Amazon or USPS shipping notifications that I get via text message. And it looks very real because they'll buy a URL that looks fairly similar to Amazon or some kind of USPS or UPS, and it'll say, your package is being delayed or rerouted. Click this to, update your information or to get new tracking info. And, of course I know better, but if I had just bought something or if I'm waiting for something in particular and I'm, eating or watching TV and I just glance at my phone, I've almost clicked on those things because the timing was coincidental. And so I just tell everyone, don't ever click on any links in your text messages. If you're curious, log into Amazon or, find your receipt from USPS and find the tracking there. Just don't ever click on anything, because my friends have done it and it takes you to a page that looks just like Amazon or just like the UPS or USPS website, and you log in and now they have your password to Amazon, and then they take themselves on a shopping spree or steal your information. So that's probably the most common one. And then also with social media and Instagram and TikTok, I've gotten DMs from my friends' actual accounts, but they'd been hacked.
Wow.
And they're asking me for a favor. Hey, I entered this contest. Do you mind helping me out? When you get a text message, send me the code that it gives you so I can use that for my entry. It's just I'm trying to win a vacation. And I've seen close friends fall for it and go, sure, because it's from their friend's literal account.
Yeah.
But what had happened was that code is a password reset. And so then they steal my account and then so on and so on. And it just kind of snowballs, and they're collecting all of these accounts and selling them or, blackmailing people. It's just so crazy with technology and social media.
Yeah, and so you're saying don't click on any links, and that's something I've heard a lot of. And is it something that where if you click on the link, they automatically can hack into your phone, or do you have to enter some more information once you click on that link?
That's more of a Jim question because I feel like it varies.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of does vary. That's right. It depends on the website. The majority of them will just straight up ask you to log in, so they'll capture your password. But there are some slightly more clever ones than that, which actually steal cookies from your browser. So cookies are just bits of temporary information that are stored there. And again, you would have when the scammers have that information, they can log in, or they will have the ability to log in as if they were you. So it depends on the website, but yeah, most of them will just ask for your password straight up.
Okay, and so we have a question from one of our YouTube viewers who said, it's from Tech Help, who says, talk about the fake bank calling or texting about suspicious activity. And either of you can take that one.
Yeah, sorry, Rosie, I don't know. This is one that's right up my alley because
go ahead,
I
go for
get
it, Jim.
these all the
Take it
time.
away. Take it away.
It's yes, the ones to do with the messages from a bank, and this could either be an SMS message, could even be by WhatsApp, or usually it's just a telephone message saying there's been unusual activity on your card, you've spent so many dollars, press 1 to speak to someone if you don't recognize this transaction. That's the way it starts. And what they're trying to do there is frighten you, first of all, into taking action. But their action ultimately will be that they want access to your computer. They won't tell you that. They will tell you, type this on your computer. And they will look to see how much money you've got in your bank account.
Wow.
And they can do that because they're remotely viewing your desktop. They will ask you to check your balance, and they will know just how much money you've got in your account. And then one of three things will happen. They will ask you to transfer your money to a safe account, okay, which sounds a bit unusual, but you know, if you're frightened and you want to make sure your money is safe, you might well follow that. Or alternatively, maybe if you don't have as much money in your account, they will ask you to go and convert them into a government-approved currency, is usually the terms they use. That basically means gift cards or withdraw money and either literally post it. I know, honestly, they will ask you to withdraw money, take it home, and then post it to a safe location. And people do fall for that. Or indeed go to what they'll call a government ATM, which is a Bitcoin ATM. They will give you lots of instructions, but ultimately you will feed an ATM machine with your cash, and it will be moved to a scammer's wallet, a digital wallet. So you will just lose that money, and it will go straight into a scammer's account.
Jeez.
Horrible.
It's so horrible, and I you know, I almost, like as I said, I almost experienced that. But I just know that once you've fallen victim to a scam and then you realize what happened, that sinking feeling that you must feel, and I don't want anyone to feel that. And you know, once you do, you know, let's say you do send money to someone, or you do fall victim to a scam, is there ever any recourse? Is there ever any way you can get it back, or is it just always just gone?
I would love to say that there is some recourse or there's a general way of getting money back, but honestly, it just depends on your bank, your financial institution. The important thing is, if you catch on that it's a scam, you need to act very, very quickly. Usually, if the money has gone, even within a few days, if it's more than a few days, it's very difficult to get that money back, if not impossible. And certainly if it's gone on gift cards or gone into Bitcoin, you're more than likely never going to see that money again, and you will probably have quite a fight on your hands if you've authorized a payment from your bank and, for example, you've read out a PIN which may have been sent to your mobile device. Banks, unfortunately, don't look very kindly on that, but it just depends on the situation. Some banks will compensate people. Others, they will say, no, that's entirely your fault and nothing to do with us.
Wow. Okay. We're almost out of time. When we come forward, though, I do want to ask you about it. There's another question on our YouTube channel or a suggestion saying to warn listeners about paying with Bitcoin. Many scammers are using this method now. Okay, so we're going to talk about that when we come forward with Rosie Okamura and Jim Browning on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's the real deal in real time. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Talk Radio congratulates Sal's Gumbo Shack for this Women's History Month. Surviving the pandemic and social unrest, Sal's Gumbo Shack continued to hold the community up with great food to all that came through the doors. Are you ready for the best gumbo in town? The best po' boy you've had? Sal's Gumbo Shack. We bring the bayou to you with real authentic soul food, Mama and Granny's recipes made with real butter, real love, real everything. Also introducing a healthy option from our jackfruit selection. And there's more. Mouth-watering desserts, peach cobbler, banana pudding, red and blue velvet cake, 7-Up pound cake, homemade with lots of love. To order, call 562-423-2113. That's 562-423-2113. Sal's is also providing training and employment to those serious about a career in the food industry and the opportunity to perhaps own your own Sal's Gumbo Shack one day. Visit salsgumboshack.com or stop by either locations, Bixby Knolls or Long Beach Boulevard. Sal's Gumbo Shack.
My name is Allison, and I was involved in an auto accident, and I didn't know what to do. I went to 3 different attorneys for help, and they all gave me the runaround. So I called Levias and Associates. Arthur Levias asked me a few questions and then put me on the phone with an attorney, and they took care of everything. I got more money than I ever thought possible. Now, I refer Mr. Levias to all of my friends and family, and we're always happy with the outcome. Levias and Associates. No one can help you better.
My name is Arthur Levias, President and CEO of Levias and Associates. My promise to you is that we will continue to give you the very best service possible and refer you to an attorney that will fight hard to get the very best results for you. Levias and Associates for all your legal needs. Auto accidents, slip and falls, workers' compensation,
No one can help
criminal
you better.
cases, family law. Whatever your legal need may be, call Levias and Associates. 1-800-500-7047. 1-800-500-7047. Levias and Associates. No one can help you better. Levias and Associates.
Hi, it's me, Gia Peppers. Tune in to More Than That live on radio this weekend or wherever you listen to podcasts. On our season finale, I'm talking to TV host and author Mike Hill and therapist and content creator Keir Gaines about Black men's mental health and ways to facilitate healing for the men in our community. This episode of More Than That is brought to you by Chevrolet. Head to change.newsone.com to learn how they're facilitating candid conversations that drive real change.
There's this belief that, by the motif of a Black man is to be this courageous, fearless, decisive leader all the time, but that's not true to anybody's human experience all the time. It's hard to imagine for a lot of Black men to imagine needing permission to be vulnerable, but that's what I do. I give you permission. That means I'm centering men's needs, not so much you being in therapy because I want you to be a better father, not because I need you to be a better husband, not because I need you to be a better employer, all the things that you be. I want you in therapy so you can be better for you.
I've always been raised like, okay, you're going through something, don't cry, man up, don't tell people about your feelings. These are all these traumas that we grow up with as a kid and even as an adult that you've learned to suppress for so many years. But eventually, all that is going to boil over and come to a point where you got to release it. And once I released it, I let it go and I felt lighter. What mental health and what therapy does is tell you the reasons why. You continue to man up and you continue to suppress everything that's affecting you on the inside, pretty soon it's going to be man down. And that's not where we want to be. So man up and do the right thing when it comes to your mental health.
KBLA Talk 1580, covering news and breaking news first.
Breaking news here. We've been covering this every day since the trial began. USA v. MRT. The verdicts are in. The jury has found LA City Councilman Mark Ridley Thomas guilty on a number of counts.
Keep it locked to KBLA Talk 1580 for news and analysis about the things that matter most to you. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black. There's no time like the present. Let's get back to more of Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back to the Friday edition of Areva Martin in real time. I'm Avi Bernard, and I'm joined with my experts, Rosie Akamora and Jim Browning. And I'm reading a comment from your Twitter post, Jim, well, someone responded saying, this is from Stephanie Humphreys saying, great job, Jim Browning and IRL Rosie. I was surprised when he said he almost fell for the text scam where they wanted him to scratch off gift cards. And that's exactly how my neighbor was scammed, and she was a professor. So, yes, anybody can get scammed. Thank you for sharing this. So that's from Jim Browning's YouTube post. I'm sorry, Twitter post. He's at Jim Browning 11. And so before we left, I was going to ask you both about this. What this YouTube viewer said: warn listeners about paying with Bitcoin. Many scammers are using this method. What do you make of that?
I think a lot of people are using Bitcoin because it's so anonymous. It's just anonymous and untraceable, basically, and then you definitely can't get it back. There's just no negotiating with that.
Yeah, it's a scammer's dream, really, isn't it? It used to be that gift cards were the currency for scammers, but they're kind of moving away from that a little bit. As you say, the anonymity with it is the really key thing. It's similar with gift cards. It's almost impossible to get the money back if it's converted into Bitcoin.
Yeah, I do actually own some Bitcoin myself, and I can concur that if you send your Bitcoin to someone, you ain't getting that back no matter what. That's the thing about Bitcoin that attracts a lot of people to it, is that there's no bank in charge of it. There's no middleman. You have it, and if you send it anywhere, that's it. There's no getting it back. Even if you send it to the wrong address by mistake, it's gone. And so Static, I think it's Static Sage on our YouTube channel said, talk about money mules. So what is that? What are money mules?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Jim, this is an answer for you too also.
Yeah, it's funny. I had a collaboration with another YouTuber, Mark Rober, who's like an ex-NASA engineer, over a couple of years actually, and between us we kind of devised ways of actually catching out money mules. So with the help of Scammer Payback Pierogi, we actually tried to get a number of scammers to reveal the people who handle their money. So these are the money mules. And whenever we got the various addresses, instead of sending cash to those addresses, we sent packages. And in the package was basically a glitter bomb, so very harmless. But when you open it, it sprays the entire environment with glitter and fart spray. And all of this would be filmed on 4 cameras. So it was just nice to have a situation where you could get one back on these money mules, because obviously scams can't happen without people to process the money, and scammers rely on these mules, and honestly, the scams couldn't happen without them, so they're part of the reason why scams are successful. So it's kind of nice to get one back on the money mules, but yeah, they are the ones who are needed to transport the money back to the original scammers. Got you.
And then Jim, I just wanted to ask you, in your videos, you have video of the scammer like headquarters of them on the phone, and we talked about you get that because they try to get into your computer and then you get into theirs. And so how do you end up perpetuating scams on them? Because you find out their actual address, right? And then you can just like send something to their building, or how do you go about doing it?
Yeah, I usually don't send things to that. I mean, that's kind of like something unusual. But what I can do sometimes is detect where the scams happen. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, a lot of them tend to be in foreign countries, and so it's quite difficult to actually get someone to do something about those scams. Mm-hmm. But the long and short of it is, if they make a computer connection, it is possible to go back to the computer that made that connection. And as you say, I've been able to film scammers almost face-to-face because I've got that computer connection. So yes, you can work out, if you can see the computer network, sometimes there's files on those computers that will tell you who is running the scam. They have their own ID cards on the computer sometimes. They will have CCTV, believe it or not, even though it's a scam operation. And it is possible to see that kind of detail. So yeah, I've had good fun actually publishing the details of some of the scammers on YouTube. There's a limit to what I can even publish sometimes. Wow. But it is nice to kind of see people face to face.
It's amazing.
Normally, of course, they're just on the phone. Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to turn the tables. Yeah, it is nice.
I could watch this stuff all day. And so before we run out of time, I just want to give some love to your YouTube channels. Rosie, your YouTube channel is IRL Rosie. You have 1.2 million subscribers, and I just wanted to give you the opportunity to mention anything that you want the people to know about, and also just give you a shout out because your videos are hilarious. If you haven't seen her videos, definitely check them out. I was dying laughing watching these earlier. And so anything how can we keep up with you, Rosie? What's the best way?
I'm IRL Rosie on all platforms. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of it. It's all the same. So yeah, check me out there. And I'm also in a band called Moderns. So if you go to modernsmusic.com or Moderns Music as the handle on Instagram and everything else, you can listen to some of the music I make as well. That is
Rosie Okamura, a.k.a. IRL Rosie. She's at IRL Rosie on all platforms. She's a voice actor, musician, and singer-songwriter. Really appreciate you, Rosie. And Jim, your YouTube channel, it's Jim Browning. You have 4 million subscribers, and I encourage everyone to go check out these videos. And what's the best way to keep up with you, Jim?
Yeah, just Google Jim Browning and you will find me there. Jim Browning 11 on Twitter, and yeah, just have a hunt. And like I say, if you're interested in scams and scammers, that's the place to go.
Well, thank you both so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Especially, I know, Jim, it was 1 a.m. your time when the show started. So thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Of course. You guys have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll be able to check back in with you at some point soon. Take care. And coming up when we come forward, it is the Raw Report, the latest in entertainment news on a Friday. It's going to be a good one. I almost had to call in sick today because the Lakers are playing right now. But don't tell me, don't text me, don't tell me what's happening. I'm gonna watch it when I get home. But the Raw Report is coming up. I'm Avi Bernard, and I am gone.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Julius White. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. There are more than 600 injuries linked to a tornado that tore through Little Rock, Arkansas. That's according to Metropolitan Emergency Medical Services. The gigantic twister hit a densely populated area of the state capital. It tore off roofs and blew out the windows of shopping centers. Giant trees were uprooted by the wind.